Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in and listening to the Real Short Box. My name is Donald, and this is the Real Short Box live, actually, here on YouTube. So thank you for joining us. It's a great honor to service the community in such a manner. I love talking. Kevin usually is out on the street. He's the man of the streets. He talks to the people and brings them in, and I'm the guy that stands on the soapbox and pontificates loudly and annoyingly half the time, and Chris is the one that stands in the background and goes, "No, no, don't do that, don't do that, no, 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 over here, no, no."
I thought we had a pontificator. He's just not with us this evening.
No.
Oh.
That would have been you, Kevin, remember?
Well, I was the original one, but then we have a new one.
No. We got a new one? When did we get a new one? Are you talking about me?
No.
Who?
Brother Darren.
Darren's the educator, goofball.
I think he comes with the pontificator.
Nope, educator.
He's the educator.
Educator. Everybody knows that. You've just embarrassed yourself on national television. This is being broadcast on ABC right now.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, ABC.
We apologize to you, ABC.
I apologize to Disney and the American Broadcast Company.
All right, good. Let's get started here. We're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff. We're going to be ranking Marvel television. Now, there's a few shows that didn't quite make it for reasons we will explain. One of them is Blade, the TV series. Another is the Hulk television series from the 70s, things like that. So Kevin and Chris,
from the 70s?
Talk about those really quickly, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Spider-Man from the 70s. How did you not include that?
You were part of this, so just talk about the stuff. I got to do some things in the background.
You know, Dr. Turner, there's something special about that old 70s Spider-Man TV series. Now, yeah, it's bootleg. You know, the webbing looks like Scotch tape coming out of his suit, but you know what? There's something special about that.
What's awful?
I mean, I've never seen the 70s Spider-Man or the Blade series for that matter.
Didn't they make a Spider-Man porno like in the 70s or 80s? I thought.
I'm sure they did.
I don't know about that. If they did, that's pretty disturbing.
I thought you said that like your grandpa or something was in it, Kevin.
I highly doubt that. I thought there would all be white people essentially. I don't think there would be any black folks in such a thing.
There's no black people in porn in the 70s. Wait, yes, there was. Huh. Who knew?
Bill Bixby's Hulk, Lou Ferrigno playing the Hulk. That's classic. You know, we can't go wrong there.
It's classic, but if you really go back and look at it, it didn't age very well.
That's true. I mean, but still, it's fun to watch. And then
it's kind of to watch now, yeah.
And as a little brief segue, you know, one of our recent audio pods that we posted last week, a friend of the show, Hakeem, spoke about that show. You and Donald and Hakeem spoke about that show and mentioned how it is kind of a depressing show, especially with the music and everything. And the poor guy, he's always traveling from town to town. I mean, poor David Banner. Yeah.
Yeah, so sad.
So sad. The poor
Very
guy.
depressing.
I was so sad when I saw, I think it was called The Death of the Incredible Hulk, the movie, and he falls out the airplane to his death, and I'm like, oh man, that's messed up. I was a little traumatized.
I thought Hulk is supposed to be couldn't die. I thought he was
right. If anything, he would just cause a huge, crack in the ground or something.
Cause a ruckus, Yeah,
cause a ruckus. Then get up, get more pissed off at the fact that he fell out of a plane, and then just get more pissed off and go after somebody.
Possibly, yeah.
But we didn't get that pleasure.
No, I don't believe he's had the pleasure.
He actually died. Did he stay dead? Like he was dead in the movie?
I thought they resurrected him at some point, right?
Ooh, I don't know.
I haven't seen it, so I have no
possibly.
idea.
Huh.
I mean, it makes sense that they would have. I mean,
anyway, it was bad. The TV series is too old. It's too dated for us to compare it with some of the updated stuff. So Lou Ferrigno, as cool as he was, okay, so he's had many, many years to be a nice dude and for people to go, I really liked working with him, but I've never heard anything but bad things about the guy. And yes, unfortunately, that does cloud your judgment when it comes to series and your thoughts on series and stuff and the characters, because sometimes it's hard to get past that. Also, again, it's just the effects are so dated. It is just a big dude in green paint and a Tauren outfit, and it's great for its time, but it doesn't compare to something that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier or something like that really has the effects and has the action and has the capability, has the steady cams and things like that. It just makes it so much more fluid and action-packed, and that kind of takes away from something like that. And we wanted to be fair, so we just left that out. What's that?
I think you're a hater. You don't appreciate good late 70s, early 80s special effects.
The only thing I hear, Kevin, is your attitude, sir.
My attitude? I'm speaking the truth, man.
Attitude. It stinks.
Old school effects.
Hakeem is here, so he's hearing all of this, Kevin, in your attitude.
You agree with me. I said give respect to the old school.
Enrique popped in. Hey, Enrique popped in. He says, hey, guys. Hey, Enrique. Hello, Sammy. Thank you for joining. Ricky.
Sammy, it's been a while.
Hello, sir. Sammy? Good to see you. Everybody say hi to my mom and dad. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Mom and Dad McKinney.
Chris, you say hi. Thank you.
What if you didn't say hi? What would you do to him? You gonna fly?
I would just close his part out, and it would just be you and me finishing the show.
That's some wicked stuff right there. You want to take that chance?
I'll cancel people over my mom and dad.
Holy moly!
Yeah, I'll do it.
I don't know them, but I love them.
That's some love right there.
Hakeem says I definitely love that Hulk series with Lou Ferrigno.
See,
that's fine.
I'm trying to defend it. Why it should have been on the list.
Well, I'm saying it should not have.
Can you call what they did in that show special effects? Because it really wasn't. It was just kind of makeup.
Well, it's
practical effects, not special effects. More like practical effects, which is fine. Effects. And he busted through foam walls and shit like that, and that's cool. Like again, but I'm saying if it goes up against another series. It's just like Loki or something. It's just not the same. It's not something that you would want to compare.
But the acting is so good, man. It's so powerful. It's so emotional.
Well, it's kind of like they kind of took like, hey, let's make this, like, we have this drama about this guy who travels around helping people. Well, that's not going to sell. So how about we, there's this green guy in this Marvel comic that we could use. Oh, sure, why not? We'll add this to it. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's a good series, but it wasn't written to be an Incredible Hulk series.
He wasn't even called Bruce Banner in the series, guys. Yeah, David Banner. Kiss my ass, David Banner.
Yeah,
Hakeem, I'm sorry. I should have brought this up when we did that pod, but yeah, I thought that was extremely disrespectful to the character that they called him David Banner instead of Bruce Banner. I mean, it was just
wait a minute. It's not as bad as Prince Metalworks for what Magneto was going to become at one point.
Yeah, but they didn't do it. It didn't happen.
They didn't do it. That's true.
Oh, Jarrett, listen to the podcast, I think is what he's saying. So thank you, Jarrett, for listening. And anybody else that has not yet listened, we have an audio podcast with Master Hypnotist Hakeem Alexander, and we talk about the Incredible Hulk. A lot about the Incredible Hulk. That's his favorite superhero. We're going to be doing some Spotlight audio podcasts with your favorite superhero. The next one is this week. It's landing on Thursday, and it is going to have Janet Rodriguez, actor Janet Rodriguez, and she is going to be talking about her favorite character, the Scarlet Witch, which is another fascinating character. Very fascinating.
Is it Sammy's favorite? Is it Sammy's favorite as well, or is it Black Widow?
No, Sammy's definitely the Black Widow.
Black Widow. Okay.
In and outside of the comic book world, she's definitely the Black Widow.
You know what? We need to do an interview with Sammy about Black Widow.
I don't know. She's so busy. All the time. No time for us.
She'll squeeze out 30 minutes of her busy schedule of her 80-hour work week to give us 30 minutes.
Yeah? You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure. Especially if you pay her $1,000, she'll do it.
Okay. Okay, so let's get kind of started on this. We're gonna get moving here. We have some very interesting things to talk about, and I believe there's 16 television series. What I wanted to preface was we didn't talk about older series, 70s and older. We didn't really discuss those. Also, we didn't bring up some series that we didn't really watch. And to be fair, okay, so the Blade TV series came out on like TNT in what, the late 90s, early 2000s or something?
No, like the mid 2000s.
The mid 2000s. You sure about that?
Yeah.
You better go look that up. You better go look that up. Because the mid-2000s would be 2050, buddy. So you better look that up right now.
Mid-2000s, like 2005.
Unless you're a time traveler. You a time traveler? Are you a time traveler? Kevin? Kevin?
It's 20, the aughts. The aughts. How's that? The aughts.
You mean like 2005, somewhere around there?
That's what I said.
Oh, so that would be early 2000s.
Yeah.
No.
He ran the summer.
Don't correct somebody and be wrong. That's the worst thing you could do.
A lot of people call it the 2000s, or sometimes they call it the aughts.
No, nobody does that. Don't be weird. Don't be weird.
Summer of 2006 is when it ran.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, early 2000s.
13 episodes.
Okay.
Wait, you just said it.
What?
You just said the 2000s. You said early 2000s.
And?
Yes, it wouldn't be the mid 2000s.
Right.
2006 would be like the mid. Oh, forget it.
I don't know if you're gonna win this one, buddy.
Like
but,
right now, we're in the fifth 2000s.
We're gonna be a half an hour into the podcast, and Kevin's gonna be like, "It's the mid 2000s. I know it is."
We're in the fifth 2000s.
He'll have driven over here to arm wrestle me to prove that he's correct.
See, to
I'll
me,
lose. Look at these guns.
I'm thinking like the 2050s or something. You're thinking what you're thinking. I'm thinking the 2050s.
Yeah, that'd be the mid 2000s.
So okay. So for example, the 1900s. You consider 1900s, the mid 1900s, the 1950s? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I guess we have a different mindset of how these things are.
The 1950s. Yeah.
Kind of. If you look at it numerically, buddy, we're not far off there. We're actually much more accurate. But I digress.
Are those BB guns? Who has BB guns?
Who has BB guns?
Someone has BB guns.
What BB guns?
Someone in the comments section says, "Are those BB guns?" Oh, I know what she's talking about. She's talking about your puny biceps. That's what she's talking about.
Oh wow, these are big guns. Look at that. My God, Sammy.
You're right, Sammy. Those are BB guns.
It's not the little toy guns you get at the dollar store. Those things fall apart right away. These are good to last. These are built to last. These are like steam engines or something. They're strong.
Steam.
That's right. Anyway, okay, so that's why we didn't have that one in there. There's 3 movies, far better than anything you could see on that television show. We did not include that. We did not include the Phantom television series. It was a Marvel property at one point in time, but we just did not include it. And there's a few other things that we did not include, but we have said, well, Ricky, it could be water pistols, sure. And Jarrett has mosquito bite boobies. Okay, well, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that do.
You know what you got? You got super soakers. That's what you got.
There we go. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So let's get started on the we did 16 of them Marvel series that we're going to be ranking. So let me put in here what we're going to be doing. There we go. And then at the top, or just underneath that, I'm going to place it right there. And then just underneath that, we're going to list the number. So number 16, which would be last place.
This number 16 is a tragedy too.
It is. Number 16 is The Inhumans.
Oh no.
Now, I'm going to bring up a picture of it because I feel it's best to display this devastatingly awful television event. I have a lot to say about this because this one fascinated me. I can't believe that it made it to the big screen and to the little screen, the television series on ABC. If you look at, I'm going to blow this up real quick. If you look at these costumes, they're awful. I mean, these are just...
Is it really that bad?
God awful. Gorgon's just a black dude in a poncho, it looks like. Karnak is this Asian guy with tattoos. And Medusa is a lady in a really bad wig.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you on that.
Why they couldn't find somebody with natural long red hair or something, or try to figure out how to get a better wig, I don't know. But
what about Ramsey Bolton?
Ramsey Bolton, yeah, he looks like trash too. I mean, he's just wearing something that he would have worn in the fourth Blade film had they made one. Just,
and Black Bolt? You're going to sew Black Bolt's outfit too?
yeah, Black Bolt was terrible. And actually, Black Bolt, the actor, Anson Mount, I believe is his name, he was in a Western series. And I can't remember the name of it. If you guys remember, let me know, of the Western series. I think it was like on Stars or TNT or one of those stations, USA or something. I don't know. But he was pretty decent in that. And it was a pretty decent series. I think Common was in there with him. And it ended up being pretty good. Wasn't terrible. But in this, Black Bolt's a difficult character because you can't have any range except for like facial expressions because you can't speak. So his character, you're kind of doomed to fail when the lead character in a show, in a series, can't talk, like, at all. I think he would do some sign language or something at some point, but it's really difficult to have a series where you don't have somebody with you at all times that will explain what you're saying, or you can't put underneath on the screen and like subtitles what the guy is saying or thinking or anything. I wouldn't know how to do it offhand, but I know that I wouldn't do it. And that's part of the reason why. It was just, it's not really so much the cast fault as it is the script. It was terrible. The story was terrible. This was a Perlmutter decision, by the way, Kevin.
Oh, you mean as in Isaac Perlmutter?
It's not Dirk Thompson Rides Again, Jarrett. That was not the name of their Western.
It was Hell on Wheels with Common.
That's it. Thank you. Hell on Wheels. Jared, I did not see it in a theater. They actually wanted to screen this for 2 weeks in IMAX. It was going to be a big event for Marvel. But Marvel actually didn't want to really advertise for it because at the time, Perlmutter was such a, unfortunately, from what I've been told, a not so nice, almost racist kind of guy, that he didn't want certain movies to be made. He didn't want female leads in movies. He didn't want a black man leading Black Panther, basically. He didn't want that to be produced, and a few others, from what I'm told. Now, so Feige, or Feige, depending on how you pronounce it, he was very upset, and so he went to Disney and said, I'm going to quit if Perlmutter is the go-between guy. And so Perlmutter was then relegated to the comic book world and the television world, leaving him in charge of some series, and in which case we got Inhumans to be produced. Now, a lot of people think that Jeff Loeb was the guy that was really behind it, and Jeff Loeb produced a lot and pushed a lot through, but Scott Buck actually was the big gun behind this series. He also did other wonderful series like Iron Fist and the last 3 seasons of Dexter. So if you want to blame somebody on the failure of the series overall, I would go with Scott Buck, probably. Not your number one choice for quality, but if you want things done on a budget and you want them done fast, he's your guy. So
and if you want to do martial arts with only about 2 weeks training, yes.
We'll talk about that, yeah. But the Inhumans was a massive failure. They ended up, instead of going 2 weeks in IMAX, it was 1 week. It didn't even sell out opening night. Wasn't even halfway full in every theater that showed it. When it hit television, it didn't really hit. It more was like dropped like a thud. It just lasted the first season, and it was done. I tried to watch the entire thing. I got 5 or 6 episodes in. I'm a champion for that, by the way. And it was trash, and I couldn't do it. It's really bad.
You want a cookie for that?
Yes. Hakeem said, I started watching Inhumans last night, and it's so disappointing for the MCU. And yes, Jarrett, that is the Eternals dollar store. Hakeem says Karnak was in X-Men 3. He was some kind of porcupine mutant. Yeah, I believe so. No, you weren't close on that Dirk Thompson thing there, Jarrett. He was played Kid Omega in The Last Stand. Okay. And Frisky Gringo, thank you for joining us, says, Blackathar Boltigan, yes. That is Black Bolt's real name. For those that don't know, Blackathar Boltigan is his actual real name, as bad as that is. Or Blackagon Bolt. Yeah, it's Blackathar Boltigan or something like that. Yeah, for those that are just tuning in, give us a like. Go ahead and click on the like button if you don't mind. The more likes we have.
Also subscribe if you
subscribe to would be wonderful. We're currently talking about ranking Marvel. We're on number 16, The Inhumans, being so far, actually, out of all this is the worst of the series. The Inhumans were pretty great in the comics, Jarrett, but it just couldn't transition over into the television world, and I don't know if we'll ever see it in the movie world either, unless they make appearances in Fantastic Four movies later on. But it's going to be hard to get these guys out there, I think, now. So that's it. That's the Inhumans. We're going to be done with that. And we're going to be moving on to number 15 on our list. Kevin, you were just talking about this, and I believe this is probably Jarrett's favorite of them all.
Absolutely. It is the immortal Iron Fist. You show respect to Danny Rand, Donald. You bow down before Danny
Rand.
Yes, that's right. You bow down before Sir Loras Tyrell from Game of Thrones as he puts on the power of Kun Lao. Oh, sorry. Kunlun. See, that's like another franchise. Sorry.
Way to embarrass it, Kevin.
I know. You see, get your franchises mixed up. My bad.
Okay, so we have Iron Fist as number 15. When your lead actor refuses to learn martial arts and wants you to edit it around him and use his stunt double, so almost all the fight scenes are quick, behind things, in the dark, shit like that, or with other actors doing most of the work, you know you're in a bad world, and you know you don't want to... It is...
Is that true, though? I heard he just got on production. He didn't have enough time to train. That's what I heard.
No. It came out later that he did not want to learn, that he was not interested.
Then they should never have hired him if that's the case.
Well, yeah, of course. But again, this is produced by a guy that wants to be on budget and on time. So if you already have the actor and he doesn't want to learn something, we'll work around it. No problem. Let's just get it going.
See, they should have hired Jarrett. Jarrett would have done a much better job if that's the case. He would have spent 6 months training in different martial arts for the role. Yes,
Jarrett, you are 100% correct. And in fact, Jarrett, if you can pull up the link to that short on the Rumble Spoon page and people can check it out, that would be super duper if you could do that. Our video was better than the whole series. I don't know if you guys know this, but Rumble Spoon Productions created a short called Iron Fisted. And it had Jarrett playing Danny Rand and talking about the history of Danny Rand and where he came from. You learned more in that tiny little short about Danny Rand and Iron Fist than you ever do in the entire series. Was it 2 seasons of Iron Fist that you got from Netflix? It was awful.
Well, the second season was better than the first, at least. They did, advance a little bit with the story.
It was still awful.
See,
Evan.
The thing about Iron Fist, I enjoyed the secondary characters. I enjoyed everybody but Iron Fist, and that was the problem for me. Because I can watch a show called Iron Fist, and I don't like the lead, but I like everybody else. So give me a show without him, and I'd gladly watch it.
Well, especially with Colleen Wing, played by Jessica Henwick. She's great to watch because she's actually a trained martial artist and a better actor. So she's very fun to watch. Matter of fact, they did a Misty Knight Colleen Wing show. I probably would have been better than Iron Fist, to be honest with you.
It would have. It definitely would have. I 100% agree. So Iron Fist is bad. I mean, it's... Honestly, I was hard-pressed to not mention it last instead of Inhumans, because it's that level of disappointment that we all experience watching this and just sitting through so much. Like, why did they have to have so many episodes? I think they did 13 episodes of pure trash. Evan says, I think it would have been fine if they had done Daredevil... if they had done Daredevil's team choreography, or had them choreograph the fighting. Possible, Evan. Yeah, I think that would have made sense. I also think that if they would have put him in the suit, like, so much earlier, then you could put the stunt double very quickly in the suit, and all you would have to worry about is here down, and that's it. So, a lot of people look the same from here down. It's here up. People look a lot different, but here down, not so much. So they could have probably gotten away with it a lot easier, too. But,
yeah. They do it on Mandalorian. Why not Iron Fist?
Right. So
that's true, because I could be in that Mandalorian suit. You wouldn't even know.
Iron Fist was number 15. Iron Fist was a huge disappointment. Iron Fist should never have been made. It's also, funny enough, a lot of people talked about that it should have been an Asian character. Like, it should have been an Asian lead. And I can see that, but also coming from being a fan of the comic books, it would be like if you had Black Lightning on television and he was a Greek dude or something. It just wouldn't be the same as you would, like, I get it, the martial arts world and stuff, you would think that it would be somebody from, China, Japan, Korea, someplace like that. It would kind of make more sense. But you also have to balance the fact that there's a lot of people out there that know the character and that enjoy that character. And when you change too much of the aspects of the character, people then would get turned off by that. And not saying that people are like, oh, Iron Fist is a black guy or an Asian dude. That's gross. I don't want that. Or he's a she now. It's a woman. It's just the fact that they love Danny Rand, and they love the way Danny Rand looks. They love Danny Rand's backstory. And if you start to change all that, is it really still Danny Rand? And the answer is no, it's really not. It's a different character now in a parallel universe, and that's perfectly fine, but call it as it is. And besides, they've already proven that they could do better with Shang-Chi. They brought another martial artist into the world, into the MCU, and it did quite well. So, there you go. No need for Danny Rand then if you don't want to have Danny Rand.
By the way, there was a great scene in Luke Cage Season 2 when Danny Rand paid him a visit. There was a pretty cool fight scene where the two of them team up together and they kind of did like a video game thing where they combined their powers together to take out a bunch of thugs. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff. That would have been great if they had a Pyro Man and Iron Fist show. That's why I thought they were going at when they canceled both shows. Like, oh, they're going to put them together in a new show or something like that. But nope, they didn't do that.
Yep. Evan says Black Lightning was Black Irish. Maybe that'd be all right. So, I don't think, Evan, that would work. No, I don't think. Hakeem says Jessica Henwick made Iron Fist more watchable. I actually thought the show was okay overall. Colleen Wing?
Yeah, Colleen Wing.
Yeah. Was a decent character. She knew her martial arts, which is great, but they didn't give her enough to do. So she's really kind of was a reactionary character, and that's very boring, and that's not something we want in a series. So I was glad it ended. Speaking of that, let's move on.
And by the way, real quick, in the comic, didn't Misty Knight and Danny Rand have a relationship rather than Colleen Wing and Danny Rand?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I think it was the opposite. But anyway, yeah, we'll move on.
And it was what is it? Let me check real quick so I can make sure I got this right.
What, number 14?
Yeah. I got it wrong, the spelling, so let me correct it.
Okay. Do you want me to say what it is, or you want to wait until you
No,
pop it
I'm
off?
spelling it right now. But yeah, you can do it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Number 14 is Hailstrom.
Hellstrom.
Hellstrom.
Yeah.
Hailstrom.
Yep, Hellstrom. This one is universally panned. Surprisingly, not by the audience, but by the critics. The critics gave it about a 28%, and in the Rotten Tomato meter, and the fans gave it about 84%, which can happen sometimes, but it's very surprising when it's a TV show, particularly one like this that was just thrown out there. It's one of Jeff Loeb's last production deals with Disney for producing television for Hulu. Prior to that, I believe he had done The Runaways, and he also did the series that recently came out. It was the one with Patton Oswalt with the big head.
Mordock.
MODOK, thank you. MODOK. And now coming soon, Hitmonkey, the animated series. That'll be coming out. So that's one of the Jeff Loeb deals that happened. And Hailstorm was basically the last live-action one that he did. It lasted 8 to 10 episodes or something like that, and then I think it got canceled.
Yeah, I think it was 10 episodes. But it got canceled, like, after episode 3. So it wasn't even like, it didn't even finish airing and they canceled it. I don't know if it was behind the scenes stuff or if it was during the show. But yeah, it was like halfway through the season, I think, episode 4 or 5, and they're like, well, here's the second half of the season, this is it.
Done.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it. It was okay. It didn't feel like I was watching any Marvel. It didn't feel like I was watching a Marvel piece. It didn't seem like it was in the same world, not in the sense of like being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but in the same world as just like, you feel in a look, Marvel has a certain feel to look, and it's just felt like a procedural, like kind of crime procedural kind of, and then like kind of like I said with Incredible Hulk, kind of seemed the same with this. It's like, okay, we're gonna have this crime procedural, we're gonna throw some demons in there, and we're gonna call it Hellstrom. And I mean, I don't know anything about the comic book, so I don't know. I can't really compare it to that, but it just didn't feel like it was like a Marvel piece.
Yeah. Basically, anything that Jeff Loeb had produced for Marvel Television wasn't directly tied to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He liked to say it was, but according to Feige, it was not. So, whoever you listen to, and it's funny because in earlier episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury does actually appear. So that ties it directly to it. So then they tried to backpedal and say no. So I don't know. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was, for a time, tied to it, and then it kind of went off on its own, in its own little pocket universe.
Lady Six showed up too, didn't she, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
So there was a few times that there was some ties to it. So it's weird that they tried to separate themselves so far. But I can see with something like Hellstrom, or MODOK or something like that, or like I like to call Marvel Robot Chicken. You can see why they would try to separate themselves from something like that. In other words, so that's number 14. It just didn't seem like it connected. It was okay. Sammy really liked it, but Jared couldn't get past the first episode. Jarrett, by the way, says Hulu Marvel didn't feel equal to MCU or Disney Plus.
I mean, it did get a couple acting awards, but
what, Hellstrom did?
Yeah.
For what?
Actress.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Evan says Hulu feels like weekday evening programming for the most part. Evan, I can agree with you. Although I will say, Hulu does a very, very good job around Halloween. They start calling it Halloween, and they put out a lot of good horror and creepy programming. So if you haven't checked them out around the October time, it's a good time to check out Hulu. They do a really good job.
You can't see that too much because they do have some good shows like
Only Murders in the Building. It's great.
No, that's great. No, but I mean, you got The Handmaid's Tale. That's an amazing show. And there's another show on here that's ranked a lot higher. That was really good and very enjoyable.
Hakeem says he's never heard of Hellstrom. That's Damien Hellstrom, if I recall. That's his first name, and he is the son of Satan. So in Marvel Comics, you see him as the son of Satan. I think his first appearance is in a Ghost Rider comic. And then he appears on his own in full glory in a Marvel Spotlight comic, if I recall.
Yeah. It's based on Damon Hellstrom and Satana.
There you go. Yeah, Zatanna being his sister, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on from this one. That was Hellstrom at number 14. Number 13 we're starting to get a little bit more into some meatier roles for people. This one, this picture is great, Kevin. This couldn't exemplify why this is number 13 more than this two in their prom dresses for the Ren Fair.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I couldn't tell that or they're going to a Halloween party.
It's bad.
Hey, man, when you're on budget, this is what happens.
I think I got the spelling right. We're talking number 13, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak, of course, would be the guy on the left. Dagger would be on the right. They're the light and the dark of the Marvel Universe, basically, the yin and the yang. Cloak is... He's can do teleportation. He is very much, in a lot of ways, like... what's his name from the DC Universe? Kevin, help me out. Obsidian.
Obsidian.
He's like, thank you, Kevin. He's like Obsidian in the DC Universe. So he has mastery of kind of the dark realm, so to speak, the darkness itself. Whereas Dagger is the light. She masters the light. She has a power over bringing light, and she can blind people or throw bolts of light. You know, she controls that as a weapon as well. So while he can shroud people in darkness, she can bust through that with light. And his dark past, his darkness, they were both actually on the street, is how this goes. And they met each other, and they gravitated toward each other, and they started to look out for each other. And they became this anti-hero, superhero, crime-fighting team, Cloak and Dagger. And I believe they first appeared in a Spider-Man comic, if I recall.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Let's see. Hakeem says they really... yes, it was ranked... Sammy, I know. It got ranked above Hellstrom. I've never... I'm going to be real. I've never seen Hellstrom myself. Chris has seen it. So I went by his recommendation. And also the fact I have seen an episode or two of Cloak and Dagger. So I knew where it was within what I saw. You know what I mean? So it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say real quick about it. Is the reason I ranked it higher than Hellstrom was because I felt like it had better acting in it. And even though it has a really, really, really slow start to it, and for some reason they want to do nothing but keep them apart, which totally doesn't make any sense. And that's what you want to see together doing their powers. When they do finally get together and do their powers, it's really cool. The last couple episodes of season 1 are really good. And that was the reason I ranked it higher than Hellstrom. Hellstrom just bored me most of the time.
Yeah, too much doom and gloom, I guess.
Yeah.
Cloak and Dagger was a lot of doom and gloom at the beginning, for sure. Jarrett asks, why do shows take 500 seasons until they just put them in cool costumes? Jarrett, I 100% agree, man. Like, I do not get why they do that. I think it's dumb. On this list is pretty much almost all these on this list are exactly the same way. They start out with dumbass shit, and then eventually they get into a costume, and you're like, finally. It's very frustrating. Next week, we're going to be talking about DC television shows, and it's actually completely the opposite. Mm-hmm. They're almost immediately in costume, and I think that's why DC television is still superior in a lot of ways.
Except for one exception.
And we'll talk about that next week. So tune in next week, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, for our ranking of DC television. I am dead to Sammy, apparently, but that's okay. Alright, so Cloak and Dagger, not a great show. Not a horrible show, but not a great show. Not much to talk about there. It was on Freeform, which is a network that just sounded like it should fail in everything.
Well, it used to be ABC Family, and then they changed the name to make it more towards teenagers.
Right.
Teenagers, young adults, college-age kids.
Oh, well. Next on our list, number 12 on the list is The Gifted.
The Gifted.
Now, this is interestingly enough a show that I had completely forgotten that existed until Chris reminded us and said, what about The Gifted? And I said, I don't know if they watch our show. And he's like, no, the series. And I was like, oh, okay. Gotcha. So, Chris, take it away.
Well, I mean, it's on Fox, and so you get that Fox quality of TV with it. But it was fun. I mean, it was released really loosely related on the X-Men. It was mutants, so it's not Marvel Universe, it's X-Men Universe, and it was again not known. It wasn't any mutants that you know of or anything like that. So that was kind of like but it had a good cast, good acting, good action.
Compton's in it. Bill Compton from True Blood's in it.
Yeah, and it was a fun show. It's a show with mutants running, and so there lots of action, and it was a fun show, but it was not nearly definitely does not need to be ranked higher than it is.
I think that they were running from Sentinels or something at the beginning, and I do like the actor that played in True Blood, Bill, the character. I don't know his real name anyway, but
yes, Stephen Moyer.
Oh yeah, that guy. I liked him in True Blood enough.
Amy Acker from Angel.
Which actor from Angel?
Amy Acker. She's the girl that they meet in the past and bring back to the future.
Okay.
And I think she marries what's his name, or it might have been Buffy. I can't remember. It might have been Buffy.
Jarrett says, "Isn't that the team with the Little Lebowski Urban Achievers?" And Frisky says, "Were they all original characters? Nothing from Morrison's run."
I mean, maybe I don't know X-Men enough to know that.
Yeah, that I don't know either. I don't think it would matter.
There were the Struckers. That was their names.
Okay, the Struckers did exist. So that's good. That's helpful. Honestly.
Thunderbird and Polaris.
Who's not a big X-Men person. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, there was Thunderbird, right?
Yeah, Thunderbird, Polaris. So they're from the comics.
Yeah. I remember that now.
So some characters are from the comics. They're there.
Yeah. Then there was like a speedster, I think, in there as well. Yeah, Jared just said no. I think they used Polaris and Thunderbird. So yeah. So not all original characters. They did use some of the.
So I shouldn't say original. I should say less known characters. That's more.
There you go. Yeah, because they can mess with them because they weren't in the X-Men universe, so to speak, in the movies. So they were allowed to kind of screw with them a bit, which is good. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if it is, I guess we'll find out. But that is The Gifted at number 12. And we're going to move on to number 11.
It's a show with the lady all by herself, known as Agent Carter. Or should I say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Carter, right?
Haley Atwell, I believe, is her name?
Yes, that is correct.
Agent Carter. Now, this is a show that you wanted to succeed so badly because she was such a cool character in the Captain America film. And Haley's a great actor. And, you just really wanted her to have success. And you loved the idea of this series that took place in, the 40s and 50s? Mm-hmm. And where she was kind of a spy. The big problem they did with this, the thing that really just tore my pages, is it basically it didn't just crease my pages, Jared, it tore my pages, is the fact that they made Haley, Agent Carter, and I know they wanted to show that it was a product of the time, but they made her a glorified secretary, and she kept wanting to go out in the field. And are you two falling asleep? There we go. Okay.
I'm listening.
Both your eyes are down. You must be looking at the screen. I'm like, am I putting them to sleep? Jesus. So,
yeah, Yeah, that's good.
They made her a glorified secretary, and then she just had to keep trying to prove herself in the entire series. That's not what I wanted in a female-centric series. I wanted a strong, which she was to a point, a strong female lead that was respected and could get things done. And it bothered me a lot that she wasn't respected at all, in that she had to constantly fight for everything that she got. And I know that's more accurate for the time, but it still kind of wears you down when every episode is that, you know?
So you wanted more like what we got from Black Widow?
Yes. I wanted more like we got from Black Widow, only in that timeline.
And less Mad Men.
Right, exactly. I wanted more Black Widow, less Mad Men, and we got the opposite. Sammy says Agent Carter was awesome and she deserved more. 100%, I'm going to spotlight that, Sammy, because I 100% agree. So you're going up on the screen again. Evan says, I was totally dozing off and then I thought you were talking to me and then I felt silly. And then Sammy says, but during that time period she was dealing with a lot of sexism, so it was accurate. Peggy was a badass. Agree, Peggy Carter was a badass. And agree that it is accurate. But it's also boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to see her in action doing things that matter. Not being like, I gotta sneak out again and, you know, prove myself. At some point, she's proven herself. We're moving on. And now we're, you know, seeing the badass that she is do things. And she's all... That's all I wanted. Like, if they would have just done that, but they never did. 2 seasons of that. And... you thought the second season would improve on a lot of things, but it just didn't. It was worse than the first season. The first season was okay. Second season was trash. I'm sorry. It wasn't good. And that's why it's number 11 on our list. My mom says, I really liked Agent Carter. LOL. Bad writers, though. So, yeah. Agent Carter as a character, great. Within that world, not so great. Anybody else?
No, I think we said it all there.
I mean, I would have definitely watched the show. This is one of the ones I didn't watch. I watched like the first 2 episodes and I gave up because I was like, eh.
Yeah.
Like I saw one I needed to see from Agent Carter in the first Avenger. I didn't need to see anything else. But I would have seen the show if they would have done what they did in What If.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually would have been really cool. And again, even if they didn't give her those powers, and she was just a badass like that and took charge.
I mean, like not necessarily the powers part, but just
absolutely
badass like she was in that.
100% with you on that, Chris. 100%. Yeah. Jared says, I'm so tired of men getting the raw deal on good parts. Instead of Peggy Carter, they should have just called him, what's a male version of Peggy? Simon? Simon Carter? I don't know. I got nothing. And anyway, so we're going to go to number 10.
Real quick, Donald, the one you were wondering where the Gifted streams. It streams like where all the non-Marvel Universe shows stream. Hulu,
okay. All right, thank you, Chris. It's available on Hulu, so everybody that wants to check it out, I'm going to do it. I'm going to check it out. I might watch an episode tonight, actually. We're looking at number 10 on our list. And that is, Kevin?
The Runaways.
Correct, sir. Peggert. Yes, it's Pat. Evan says Pat. Enrique says Peggert.
Peggert.
And Frisky says Agent Carter was too shrill and needed to not be so bossy. Oh my God. You're going to get eaten alive.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so number 10 is The Runaways. Raise your hand, everybody, if you've seen it. Kevin?
Unfortunately, I have not. I never ran for 3 seasons. I never had a chance to watch it.
Pretty good. I watched the first season. I enjoyed it, but I never enjoyed it enough to care to go back for a second season.
I'll say this. Any show that has a raptor running around, you gotta love.
That was cool. That there was a girl that could control a raptor dinosaur creature that they had created in a lab. The Runaways is basically a group of teenage kids that find out that their parents are supervillains, and they run away to defy their parents and become superheroes. So it's an interesting concept. Matthew K. Vaughn, I believe, wrote some on it, as did Firefly guy. Josh
Whedon.
Josh Whedon. Thank you. Josh Whedon, yeah. So it had a good pedigree. It had some great stories. Interestingly enough, the comic book, with all their first appearances, still super cheap. Go figure. So if you're a prospector or a collector, grab it up. It's like, I think, $20, maybe 30 at the most. But yeah, it was pretty cheap.
Yeah, it had a really good adult cast, like a really good adult cast, in my opinion. And the interesting thing about the show that I really liked about it is the opening credits always was really interesting, and it always brought up really cool clues about what the show was going into in it, and it really drew you into the show. And I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that too, actually. Mom says she never saw it. Janet says haven't seen it. Mom says her hand is down. Sammy says I still have to finish season 2, but it was pretty good. Hakeem says my child would run away. Denenberg popped in. He said Josh Whedon. Hello, David. Thank you for joining us, sir. Good to see you. We're on the Runaways right now. Jarrett never watched it. Decent show. It's definitely,
it's fun.
More entertaining than Agent Carter. I don't know about The Gifted. Probably within the same realm, according to Chris, I would say. So if you'd liked this Runaways, you might enjoy The Gifted. Both are actually available on Hulu then, so you can check them out. Anything else to add to the Runaways?
I mean, like I said, I like the Runaways because if you look at it, it's not really comparable. But if you compare it to like Legends of Tomorrow in the DC world to this, it's like the fun, weird one, and that was it was fun to watch, and didn't take itself too seriously. And that's what I enjoyed about it. It was because all these other Marvel properties were just so heavy. And then this one, you got like kind of light and teenagers being teenagers, but also trying to be superheroes, and a little dinosaur running around and all that stuff. And it just it's a different pace, different change, change of pace, which was nice.
Brent Richards asks the question, asking, "Is He-Man a mutant?" No, I don't believe so.
No, it's magic.
He's an Eternian, which is different, totally different.
Him and She-Ra from Eternia.
And then Sean just popped in. He said, "What up, kids? What up, Sean? Thanks for joining, buddy."
You got my message. Thank you, Sean.
Malraz says, "I like The Gifted." And now Brent is laughing. Yes, it's true. It's true. Okay, so we're going to move on. That was number 10. Number 9, people are going to be very surprised, I think, is what we put, or who we put at number 9.
There might be some anger, too. You might cause...
Possible. Yeah.
You might cause some disruption in the comment section. And
all right, here we go.
Luke Cage.
Exactly.
Now, I know why you guys, because I was upset about this. I thought it should have been up a little bit higher myself. I should have been up to 6 and not 9 instead. But what I would have done is, I think the reason why you had a problem with this is because the first season, they killed off Cottonmouth too early.
Yes.
Mahershala Ali
made that show.
You
have one of the best television villains in anything.
And you snoke him.
And you kill him off halfway through.
You snoke him.
For what reason?
The second half is like
so boring. Convoluted, confusing, boring. The new villain, the ultimate villain, Bushwhacker or whatever, is
Diamondback.
Terrible. Yeah, Diamondback or whatever he is terrible. Bushwhackers. Wait, I got
Bushwhackers.
Right? That's one of the villains.
Now, the soundtrack is sweet. I think someone just brought that up. Yes, you're absolutely right. Great soundtrack. That's one thing. The music, especially, you know one of the greatest characters of that show was? The Club.
Who?
Is a character in of itself.
Who?
The Club that Cottonmouth ran.
Well, yeah. They did. What was his name? They did a whole entire Charles Bradley. They did a whole a venue because it was a dance concert venue kind of place, a club.
Yeah.
So each episode had a new kind of band when they would show that club, and it was great to highlight amazingly talented artists of just not of Anglo-Saxon descent, so to speak, of all corners of the world, all this diversity put inside this club. To have Charles Bradley be showcased in there was amazing and so touching, because it wasn't long after that he passed away. But it really spotlighted his music, his work, and showed how well music like that can fit within the constructs of series like this. And that you're 100% correct, Kevin. I love that part of the series, and that also had to do with Marshala Ali, and how talented he was and how smooth he was. And then you have like this jazz or this blues kind of music in the background that just blended so well into the scene. It was really well done.
What upset me about them killing off Marshala Ali? I thought he was like the perfect. He would have been like the second, or maybe even be on par with Kingpin.
Yes.
And just the level of acting that Vincent D'Onofrio does with Kingpin. I mean, he's just right up there. I was even thinking in my mind that when they got to the Defenders, those two would have teamed up along with the Hand to take on, the 4 or 5 heroes. That would have made sense to me. You had really good, solid villains that could have really giving the Defenders competition. Instead, that's another story. That's why we never mentioned that show, but whatever. That's a story for another day.
Jared pops in. He says, "Runaways to show where Soul Asylum did a video. Runaway Train, I believe, Jared, not Runaways. My mom says she liked Luke Cage. Sean agrees with us. He said Luke Cage had a great soundtrack. Brent says Snoke is my favorite. My mom says, like I said before, Bad Writers. Brent says the iconic Biggie picture. Yes, Brent, definitely. Biggie in the background there with the crown, I believe is what it was.
That picture was like a character in of itself, just having that painting.
Sammy says Luke Cage was great. Love the music they had too. Yes, the first 6 episodes, maybe 7 of Luke Cage was amazing. Enrique says yes, Charles Bradley so great. Jarrett, that actually introduced Jarrett to Charles Bradley. Evan says, I agree he was a great villain, but I'm not thrilled he's being recycled into the MCU as Blade. In a perfect world, he would just be Blade, I think. Hakeem said he did a great job in the 4400 as well. I would be glad to see him as Blade. I didn't know he was in the 4400, Hakeem. Was he like right in the beginning? Because I don't remember him at all. And Jared says, with the way our society has been, it's so refreshing to watch a black-centric show. Jared, 100% agree. And I think I'm excited about next week also, because we see the exact same thing coming forth in the DC television universe with Black Lightning. And they don't spotlight the artist in a club, because obviously that wouldn't make sense, because he's a principal of a school. But they spotlight such profoundly great music in that series as well, and I was very surprised. It's a little different than what we got with Luke Cage, but it's still excellent and just spot on for the series. And I'm very excited about to talk about that next week. 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be doing rankings of our DC television shows next week, so tune in for that, guys, please. Any last words on Luke Cage, guys, before we move on?
Just wish they put him with Iron Fist after after season 2. That would have been so much fun. But
yeah,
maybe we'll see it again in Disney Plus or Hulu or something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. The
world may never know. Really quickly, though, I want to talk about our sponsor. We have a sponsor here at the Real Short Box. The picture's right up on the screen just below Chris. It is Splattered Frog Brewing. This is a brewery, a microbrewery, virtual microbrewery in Texas.
Great state of Texas.
Great state of Texas, yes. I know there's a lot of bad things happening right now in Texas. A lot of people are not happy with Texas. But I will say there's a few good things still, and one of them is Splattered Frog Brewing. They do a wonderful job. I'm going to put up their website. I'm going to put it on the screen, actually. It is splatteredfrog.com. And if you go to this website and you enter in the code, now we have our own special code, Shortbox, you get 20% off your order. Now that's a pretty good discount, guys. They have t-shirts. They have these great hats. Now guys, honestly, these hats are wonderful. I'm gonna be very clear about it. They're very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Very nice hats. You can get one shipped to you, including shipping, for about $20, which is a really good deal for a nice quality hat like this. And it's a good conversation piece too. I've had a lot of people stop me and be like, "Oh, you know, what's Splattered Frog?" And then I'll tell them. I go to a lot of microbreweries myself, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I never heard of this one," and then I explain it. So it's a good conversation piece. You know, we get talking about microbrews and stuff like that, and flavors and things. So check them out when you get some time, guys. SplatteredFrog.com.
And the reason their beer's so good is because they use the tears of the Texans for the water.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's
Very
amazing.
well done. Let's see. Splattered Frog got hops, says Sean. David says, F yes, Texas, you got this. But yay, Splattered Frog. And we're going to move on. That was number 9 with Luke Cage. Now we're going to go to number 8. Number 8's another one that might surprise people as far as its numbering in this world here.
I think you upset Pete Mendoza with this one. This should be in his top 5 for
No,
sure.
he's not even on here, so I think we're fine.
Fine. It'll be Frank Castle, The Punisher.
Yes, The Punisher. Now, I'm going to explain this and our reasoning behind it not being higher up. Season 1 was solid. It was a solid season. It wasn't a perfect season, but it was solid. It was decent. Did we get the microchip we wanted? No. But we got a microchip or a version of him, and that made us excited. Did we get the Punisher we wanted? I think so. I think we got the Punisher that we wanted. He did a really good job. Berthanol did an excellent job. But the problem I had with this series was Season 2. So, comparatively, if you go Season 1 and you're comparing it to all the other Season 1s, it's pretty high up. But once you include Season 2, it drops down again. So, you have to do an overall. Since this one only got 2 seasons, you package it, but you look at Season 1 first, and you go, okay, that's going to put it up pretty high. It's going to put it definitely above Iron Fist. It's going to put it above Runaways, things like that, because I had a stronger Season 1. But then Season 2 comes in, and that just drops it down some. So that's why it's about middle of the road, because it's not perfect, but it's fun for the most part. And that's The Punisher, sitting at number 8. Anybody else have any comments?
Well, I mean, Season 2 was not great, but I still think it's better than Season 2 of some of the shows we have ranked a little higher.
Right, but the shows that we had ranked higher, I think either the Season 1 was better, or they had a Season 3, a Season 4, a Season 5, and that was still very solid. So when you look at that statistically and you put that in an overall grade, it puts it up just above, and that's why it's still where it's at. Now
The thing I hated about Season 2 is bringing... I mean, I understand where the character came from, but bringing Karen into the second season so much, I feel like took away a lot from it.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you there. The second season really just drags and pulls. And I just wanted, but it's hard to have a character like that for too long as a good guy in the Marvel universe, where they try to make it more realistic fiction, realistic fantasy, because he's not, because he's a murderer. So it's I can understand where the problems were, and I know, so maybe they should have just stuck to one season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe team up with Daredevil for an entire season.
Will we see Berthanol in the or the Punisher in the MCU, or Berthanol play the Punisher? Possibly.
I believe
He'll be back.
I believe so.
I think if we're seeing a Secret Invasion series, I think that honestly is the perfect time to bring in the Punisher. To bring in a vigilante when everything's going crazy. For those that don't know, Secret Invasion is basically Marvel's version of V. And if you don't know V, that is a 80s made-for-television series that had where humans were lizard disguised, a lot of them as lizard people that were trying to systematically take over the world. Very cool concept, a very cool story, and one that they actually redid in like 2010 or 11, somewhere around there, when they did a revamp of the series, and it lasted a couple seasons in that. So I think the Punisher could very well fit into there. But we'll see. You know, we don't know 100%. We know that we're going to get Nick Fury in there. Sam Jackson's Nick Fury is going to be a part of it, but we don't know much more than that. It's still in development stage right now. Let's read some comments, though. Let's see. Frisky says, just like hearing Tom Holland's Queen's accent, I thought Berthanol's Southern accent was fitting. Evan says you don't have to explain this one. Hakeem says Punisher is another one of my all-time favorites, and so does Sammy say that. Frisky says, a lot of cut-the-shit moments about how much pain and abuse Punisher could take. He's not a mutant, just a soldier, LOL. Right. Sean says, isn't Punisher only power having a lot of guns? The Punisher's only power. That and his determination. And his skill as a ranger, basically. Hakeem says V was an incredible show. And Frisky says, hey, my grandpa subscribes to that magazine. Guns and Ammo?
No, Guns and Anger.
Guns and Anger, oh, okay.
That'd be a cool magazine to actually read. Guns and Anger.
Guns and Anger, yeah. So we like the Punisher. We enjoyed the Punisher for what it was, but Season 2 kind of took it down. David says Punisher was his favorite hero growing up. Okay, that makes sense in a way. Yeah. I know a lot of kids that when they were teenagers and stuff, the Punisher was somebody that they could relate with because he didn't take any shit. And, if somebody was in his way, he'd take them out. And
quite literally.
As a teenager, if you're getting bullied and stuff, you can see that being like, oh, I could just take him out of my way, if I was the Punisher or whatever. I'm not condoning...
unfortunately, in this day and age, we are kind of seeing that.
Right. And I'm not condoning that type of attitude or thought process. I think it's very cathartic to let Frank Castle do it. And you stay out of the picture with that. Find your inner strength, not your inner psychopath.
There you go.
Yeah. Mel Raz says, V is one of my favorite shows. Oh, I'm glad you enjoy it. I really like it too. Even the remake I really enjoyed. I thought it was really well done. So we're moving on from the Punisher, and we are going to number 7. This is another one that might be controversial. Controversial for why it's so high up. And we can explain.
The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I just put up Agents of Carter, so give me 1 second. There we go. I got it now. Oh, such a tiny picture. Oh, they look so happy jumping up and down. Good for them.
Of course, because they're Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You should be happy.
Interesting cast. They didn't come into their own until the second half of Season 1, to be honest. At least I thought so. If you tried to watch the pilot, you would have sworn it would have been canceled after 1 season if it would have made it that far.
Yeah.
And what happened was, and it was a Joss Whedon directed pilot too, and written with his brother. So you thought it was going to be amazing, and it ended up not being good at all. The pilot was terrible. But what happened was they did Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And that's when all the agents of Hydra started going, Hail Hydra. And we started getting these sleeper cells showing themselves and making this a reality that there's bad guys within the good guy super club. And that's when there was a turn in one of the characters in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything went south for them and everything went north for the viewer. It got good. It got interesting. They started adding actors that actually knew how to act. And things began to progress. And the storylines began to be more complicated and interesting. And for several seasons, it was very enjoyable. And if you didn't stick with it for that first season, and you only watched the first half or the first couple episodes and you bounced, you missed out on a lot of good. And that's why this show is so high up. It's rated number 7 in our list, particularly because it went for 7 or 8 seasons, and at least half of them are really solid stuff.
And then they just started to kill Coulson like every season and bring him back.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, kill him, bro, back. And then he's evil Coulson. And then, or the chief, or what was it called? The chief or something like that? Or the captain or something. And, brought him back, kill him, bring him back again. And
it looks, Frisky says Agents of Jump Rope. Hakeem says Ming-Na Wen was awesome as Agent May. Yes, she really was. Sammy says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of my favorites. Got so emotionally invested in that show. Also love how they connected it to the movies. And Sean says, yeah, I bounced halfway through the first season. Sean, go back. I 100% implore you to go back and finish season 1. And I think you'll see right after the Winter Soldier, all these agents of Hydra start coming out. And that's when this show gets very good. And all of the rest of season 1 and season 2 creates this through thread about that, and it's very good. It's fascinating. It's not the best thing in the world. Don't get me wrong, but it's very good television for being a network television show. It's very good, and they do it for multiple seasons. I think 3 or 4 seasons at least are really solid for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I highly recommend it if you get time.
My friend was on the show, so I have to rank it high, of course.
Nice. Sammy says, made me so happy that Coulson got a chance to shine on his own and didn't end after the Avengers. Yeah, his death was pretty tragic. Joss Whedon stated multiple times that he died and he's dead and he didn't come back. And this show's not part of the MCU. But then he directed the pilot, which was weird. So I don't know what to think of that. But whatever. Who cares? Number 7.
There was a whole storyline explaining exactly what happened in the movie for him to die and now be alive. So, clearly, it was, he lied. It clearly meant to be connected.
All right, moving on. That was number 7 on our list. Number 6. Another one that's going to piss a lot of people off. I think probably the most out of all of them. Kevin, would you agree?
Probably, because I'm surprised you allowed it to get this far up the list. And that, because you had a lot of problems with the show back in January and February, and that would be WandaVision.
Yes, WandaVision. I did not love. Very well known. I did not love it, but I didn't hate it. And the last couple episodes were pretty solid. A lot of fun to watch. So overall, as a season, yeah, if I had my way, I would have ranked it lower. But I know there's a lot of big fans out there of this type of storytelling. And it was completely different from what we had seen prior. And I think that does separate it some. Whether it was exciting, boring, innovative, whatever you may think. I think Stay Tuned did it better. But and if you haven't seen that movie, please go watch it.
Or the Truman Show, I guess.
To a point.
I'll say this: I loved the throwbacks to the different TV show styles. As a fan of TV history and stuff, it was really fun to go back and see all these Easter eggs from all these old shows. So I really enjoyed this season. The second half is definitely the better half of the season. But going back watching those early episodes with seeing all the different Easter eggs from all the different classic shows, like a lot of Dick Van Dyke stuff and a lot of all that stuff, and there was really fun to watch as somebody who is a fan of like the whole history of old school TV stuff. As a Marvel piece and as itself, yeah, doesn't necessarily work, but it was for a particular type of people. So I've enjoyed it. But yeah, that second half definitely way more exciting. And once you introduce characters we know and all that, the FBI people and all that, Kat Dennings' character and all that, once they come in, then I feel like the story really begins to fly.
Yeah,
I wasn't on with the Quicksilver thing.
Who was the agent?
The guy from Ant-Man?
Yeah. Yeah, who is he? What was his name? I can't remember, but that actor, he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked him performing. Kevin, who's that actor?
I'm looking for him right now.
All right. Evan says he loved the first 4 episodes. Evan, I'm going to guess that you were high during those 4 episodes. And that's why you loved them so much. Because any normal person wouldn't know what the hell was going on. Jimmy Woo, thank you, Evan.
That's right, Jimmy Woo. There we go.
Yes,
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, such a great character. And I'm really super excited to see more Jimmy Woo. In fact, the actor that played Jimmy Woo...
Randall Park.
Randall Park. Yes, thank you. He was in a Netflix movie. I'm so terrible tonight with names. The name of the movie was...
the one, it was the one with... well, what's his name? The King. It was something the King, right?
No, it was a romantic comedy.
Yeah, with the guy and the girl. Yeah, of course, romantic comedy. Yeah, bad.
Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It's really good. Like, if you haven't seen it, it's really good.
And he was amazing on Off the Boat. A great, hilarious show. He was hilarious in it.
Yeah, he did a really good job in that too, which was an ABC series. So yeah, WandaVision. I don't know about anybody else, but I think what they did with the Quicksilver little thing that they did
that upset me.
Should get somebody put in prison, I think.
Yeah, that upset me because he was like the better Quicksilver between the MCU one and the Fox one. Where you got all excited when you saw him, and then they did what they did with that. Oh, he's just some actor. I'm like, oh, come on, don't do that.
Yeah, and they called him Boner.
They pulled an Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
They pulled a boner, basically, is what they did, because they even named him that. And a boner is an old school terminology for a joke, a prank.
Yeah, that's just plain douchebaggery right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so that's number 6. Now we're going to move on to number 5. We're getting into the good stuff, guys, the really good stuff.
This would be the son of Charles Xavier, Legion.
Now, for those that haven't seen the first season of Legion, holy shit, it is good. It is really good. Now, I never watched the second season, but I heard it took quite a dip. But just on the basis of the first season alone, definitely above The Punisher as far as quality. Definitely above WandaVision as far as quirkiness and storytelling. So it's placed very well at number 5, I feel, and I'm very proud of the ranking of this show. I can't see this being the girl from The Office or Parks and Rec, Audrey Plaza, was fantastic in this. She was just phenomenal playing the character. I don't want to spoil things, but playing the character that she played she did such a good job. Like, she kind of blew my mind with the way that she put it out there and this way she was able to bring that character to life. It was very good. Evan says, I'm surprised here. My mom says she hasn't seen it. Mom, it's really good. You should check it. Andrew, thanks for joining us. He says, what's that?
It's on Hulu if you want to watch it.
Yes, check it out on Hulu because it is an FX series. Most FX stuff is on Hulu. Andrew says, I'm
sorry. You know what's funny? I still haven't received my DVD set. Or sorry, Blu-ray set from Comic-Con. Remember I ordered it at the booth at Fox? I still haven't received it yet after all this time.
What?
You know when you're at Comic-Con, you can go and order certain things. I still haven't received it after like 3 years. It's one of those weird things.
You should have reached out.
I did.
Okay. Well, then you got screwed, buddy.
Yeah.
Andrew says, I wanted to love Legion as an X-Men fan, but season was good, and then season 2, I just got disengaged. And Hakeem says, never watched Legion. It seems I may have to give it a look. And Enrique says, so good, love the style of Legion. Hakeem, you will love it. I think you will love it. It's heady. It's kind of trippy in a way, but it's heady. It's very cerebral. Super good, super solid. A lot of fun. Like, you don't quite know what's going on at first, but you're enjoying yourself. And that's the big issue I have with a lot of things that you don't know what's going on. You're not enjoying yourself because you don't know what's happening and you feel confused and you're angry about it and frustrated. With this, you don't feel that way. You're intrigued and you're entertained and you want to know more, and each episode gives you more. And that's the important part. So they're just spoon feeding you little bits of knowledge, a little bit at a time. There you go. There's the next little bit here. Put that in your mouth. There you go. So, and just trying to build you up so they can then completely tear you down near the end. And it's so good when it happens. So, that's what we're looking at number 5. Let's go to number 4, yeah?
Number 4, I don't understand. I don't agree with this. It had one good season, and after that, it went to hell.
No. It had one amazing season.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
I think this is the best. Kevin. This is the best season of any of the shows, in my opinion.
What?
And I think the third best villain.
Yeah, and it's particularly because of the villain is why it's the best.
So you're putting, even though he was great, Purple Man and former Doctor Who actor, even though he was great, you're putting him ahead of Vincent D'Onofrio?
David Tennant. And
you're putting David Tennant ahead of Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
As far as this first season, because Vincent D'Onofrio he doesn't really get to chew that scenery as much until he gets to season 2 and 3 in Daredevil. Then we really see him start to just go the fuck off. Pardon my French, guys. But he just loses his shit in the second and third season. In the first season, he's a little more reserved. Whereas in the first season of Jessica Jones, the Purple Man, there's no reservation. He's not reserved. He doesn't give a shit. He is full-on Kingpin, kind of controlling right away in season 1 of Jessica Jones. We see a man on a mission hell-bent on destroying somebody's life because they don't love him.
Yeah, kill Graves.
This is a psychopathic ex-boyfriend type scenario, and it's scary as hell. This is a horror film. This is an entire series. It's a horror film. It's a psychological thriller.
And what's great about the first season, it does have many themes that I know obviously many women out there can relate to. Because like you said, being stalked, there's obviously a rape theme to it as well, in a sense, because he is taking advantage of her in many ways, mentally and physically, making her do things she didn't want to do. So yes, it's a very powerful
Kevin,
season.
I hate to break it to you, but I'm getting lots of love in the chat here. Janet.
No, the first season.
Janet says it's the best. Sean says Doctor Who. Sammy loves it. Sorry, David. Yeah.
Second season. Absolutely. Had it kept them alive for another couple seasons, it'd be a different story. I would have a different opinion. It's just that one season, to me, it's a one season hit wonder. That's it to me.
It's absolutely. But when you compare it to other seasons, season 1 of for example, The Punisher, it's better. It's better than The Punisher season 1. And The Punisher's at number 8. It's better than season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't get good until halfway through. It's better than WandaVision because WandaVision's first 3 or 4 episodes kind of just waste time. And this doesn't. It gets right to it. So, and it's better than Legion because you know exactly what's happening and you're scared for the character immediately.
And you truly believe you put this above the first season of Daredevil? Wow.
Yes, I would. 100%. I'd put this above the first season of Daredevil.
Okay.
Hakeem says I'm drinking too much splattered frog if I think Jessica Jones should be ranked this high. Hakeem, I'm going by season 1. The season 1 of this alone allows us to be ranked so high. Now, it would be, I would put this just under Daredevil if it wasn't for season 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. It's like, yeah, if season 2 and 3 were better, it could definitely compete.
Well, I'll put it this way. If it was just one season and there was never a season 2 and season 3, then I'd be okay with you putting it at number 4. If season 2 and 3 never happened,
Kevin,
then I would agree with
let me just tell you this. Season 2 and number 3 never happened. There we go. Boom. Done. Problem solved.
You can't take it from my memory, though.
I could try. But when compared to some of the others, you may be right. I would have to put Punisher in Daredevil. Okay, that's fair, Hakeem. And we're not all saying that we agree here as the group here. Jared actually helped us rank these as well, since he's still part of the Real Short Box. He just can't be on at the moment. But he did help us rank these series also. So between the four of us kind of collaborating and coming up with this, there's a bit of back and forth that always happens. But once a point, comes across and you try to make that point and balance that, it does start to make sense in a way. Now, there's still going to be some disagreements, of course, and that is going to happen. Obviously, it's with Kevin, but
when Donald Venmos money to people, then of course he gets his way.
Right. Hakeem says, I can take it from his memory. I am a master hypnotherapist. There we go. Hakeem, go ahead, do that to Kevin, please.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Aggressively Relaxing says Iron Fist Season 1 is the best. You are drunk. And Hakeem says, watch out, Kevin. So that's number 4 on our list, Jessica Jones. Now, it could be higher than number 3 on the list, and I would argue it, but I know there's a lot of people that like number 3 a lot. And number 3 is very action-packed, and it does introduce us to some very cool characters that we all enjoyed. And that would be
the buddies of Captain America, and actually 2 buddies of Captain America, basically. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So number 3 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, some people might not like that.
I mean, I personally felt like, it should have been a little lower, but with production value and just overall storytelling, I feel like it's where it should be.
Pretty close, yeah. If it's not number 4 or number 3, it's around that realm. So we'll give it a pass and put it at number 3. Sammy says more Bucky Barnes is always a good idea. Sammy, I want to pin that. And Hakeem says he is a huge fan of the show. Well, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it too. What I didn't enjoy, though, after watching WandaVision, I thought the next series was going to be at least 8 or 9 episodes long. And when we found out Falcon and the Winter Soldier was only going to be 6 episodes, I was a little disappointed, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It felt a bit rushed, which is odd, because with WandaVision, it felt dragged out like so much. Like it could have been 6 episodes and would have been fine. I think they got them confused.
They should have flipped it.
You got it. Yeah, they got them confused.
Especially we're starting to get to know the new Captain America. We're getting to know, oh my goodness, help me out here. Get a little brain freeze. You and Jarrett love this character.
Oh, U.S. Agent.
Yeah, U.S. Agent.
Oh,
I wish we got a little bit more of him. And of course, he's played by the son of Kurt Russell. I thought he did a pretty good job portraying the character.
Yeah, the Briz Breaking episode is really good. It's probably my favorite episode.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell. I think he thought he did a great job playing John Walker.
Aggressively Relaxing, you're completely confused. He's saying, Iron Fist is my favorite Netflix show. The use of the animal forms was brilliant. The kind-hearted CEO Reza episode and the soundtrack. Shield number 1, if we are talking everything. I think you're talking about the man with the iron fist. And that is probably on Netflix. It's an actual Universal production. And
I think right. I think Rizzo did direct an episode of Iron Fist. If I remember.
Did he?
Correctly. Yeah, because he's really
so.
martial arts stuff. So.
Oh my God, am I shit? Well, what about Animal Forms? I don't remember that. Am I wrong on that? Was there Animal Forms?
We talk about the martial arts. There's different animal styles.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just confused. Aggressively Relaxing. I'm sorry if I'm confused. I'm not 100% sure. I just assume. Maybe I'm drunk. Although I'm just.
You're having too much. Splattered frog, sir.
Just tea.
Too much splattered frog.
I haven't had any splattered frog since Ohio. David says Marvel has moved on to the cosmic phase. Winter Soldier and Black Widows don't do much for me anymore. Oh wow. And Kevin, you're agreeing with that. Shame on you.
I'm just kidding.
How can you relate to cosmic characters without a human accessible character to bring you into that? Without humanic elements, compassion, kindness, love, care,
That's right.
hatred.
Because the two Avengers movies, the Infinity War and Endgame, wouldn't work without it.
Without the human aspect, yeah, the element of that. Without Captain America grabbing his gauntlet when he's trying to hit him in like pushing back, and we seeing that. Without him grabbing the hammer and twirling it and stuff, that very humanistic element of courage,
powerful,
and love for everyone is very important. I think that's something a lot of us can take from that and just learn to love people more and care for your fellow man. We wouldn't have everybody just shitting all over each other, which I'm not saying everybody does, but a lot of people do. And it's not good. It's not healthy. So let's hug it out. Hug it out. Give me a hug. There you are. Huggy.
It's time to hug it out for the next one.
Yeah.
A great actor, a man who's truly embraced his character like no other, besides RDJ, and that is Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
Yes, number 2 on our list is Loki, and with good reason. Tom Hiddleston, I've heard many stories. He is a scholar and a gentleman. Very nice guy all the way around, and loves the character of Loki so much. He said he'll just keep playing it as long as they'll have him, and I think that's great.
And Sammy wants to marry him.
I wouldn't want anybody else to play him. Jarrett says U.S. Agent was great. Thunderbolts tease too. Yeah, Jarrett, I like that. Or Dark Avengers actually could be also. Hakeem says I really love Loki, and Sean says Cap is great. Metal arm guy is meh. Winter Soldier. Yeah, I do understand. I think Chris Evans is a better actor over Sebastian Stan. I will agree there. Hakeem says, I always rooted for him ever since he appeared in Thor. We're talking about Loki now. And Andrew, Loki, he says Loki was so good. And Hakeem says Loki is one of the best characters ever. Now, Andrew, were you a little worried with the first episode? Like, when the first episode came out, were you a little worried that it was just going to be standing around talking a lot and not much else? Because I was a little worried at first. And that's because we already had WandaVision, where there was a lot of talking and sitcom stuff, and I was just like worried that this was going to be where it was going to go. And when it went where it went, without giving any spoilers away to that aspect, it led us to something that could very well be the biggest event in Marvel cinematic history. And I'm really excited for that, and really hoping that that is the case. Not because I'm financially invested in the character, but
yeah, I was about to say that.
but because I also love particular character as well.
Donald, I thought those scenes between Morbius and Loki, where they just sat and talked, were some of the best moments of the whole show, in my opinion. I love those
aspect. Get back to that human aspect.
I didn't think it got good until we got to learn more about the female Loki. Like the Enchantress, so to speak. I very much enjoyed their relationship, and when they were stuck and trying to get on the train and get out of there, and like deal with the planet being like annihilated and stuff. That's when that stuff got good. And I was like, okay, here's where it's at. This is what I want to know. This is what I want to see. And then we start to see Mobius's relationship and his tie with Loki become more firm. And we understand those characters a little more in their interactions. That's when it works for me. Did we need all the talking at the beginning? I don't think so. Some of it, sure. Not all of it. But, I'm not the creator. I'm not the writer. So sometimes other people feel that, more dialogue and more people like you, Chris, might enjoy it. And less people like me might not. And maybe that's a good thing, too. So I'm not complaining so much. I just think it could have been shortened a little bit with the talky and elongated with the action. Choppy. But yeah.
But I mean, because of those scenes, I mean, you know, this very well possibly could have been number one on the list. Like it's just it had everything that you could want in a Marvel show. Great action, great acting. Like I said, some of the best because of those scenes. Some of the best acting I've seen in a Marvel film, especially even Owen Wilson, who
Yeah. Well,
is great.
top notch actors for
Yeah.
sure. They brought in their A game, and this is Disney Plus, so they're really trying hard to bring their A game.
I enjoyed the plot twist with the people who were working at the we call it the center where everything converges with all the different alternate universes. You found out that they themselves are different variants. I thought that was a pretty cool twist there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a great twist. Yeah. Little bit of a spoiler alert for those that have.
Oh, it's been long enough.
Okay. Well, I like to warn people in advance, so.
Sorry about that.
Aggressively relaxing says, I'm definitely drunk. No worries. In the beginning, he uses crane on the security guards. Always talk about Iron Fist. And to get past them, then uses dragon during the Kill Bill homage. It was awesome. That's cool. I don't remember that at all. I do remember the drunken, what was it?
Drunken Master?
Drunken Monkey or something? That's what they call it?
Yeah. Like the
That's
Drunken
great.
Master.
I feel like that dude should have been Iron Fist, 100%, but whatever. David says, yes, lots of love for Loki and the cosmic vibes. Aggressively relaxing says, can't wait for Loki season 2. David says, it led us to a shirt that I didn't win. Yeah, we did give away a shirt, a t-shirt that Ricky that our buddy Ricky won. And
he was happy.
We actually have a really cool photo of Ricky with it. I'll just put it up to the screen so you all can see it because he was the big winner of the shirt. And he was so super happy when Kevin brought it to him and he could try it on. So,
and yeah, like everyone online is saying, it introduced us to Jonathan Majors, who's phenomenal.
Very true.
How happy that guy is.
And so, for people that don't know, we do quite a few giveaways actually on our live podcasts. We've got some giveaways coming up for Shocktober, our full month of Halloween horror October and fun. That's going to start the first week of October and throughout the entire month on our live podcasts and our audio podcasts as well. We're going to be doing a lot of Halloween-centric stuff. So October is going to be all Halloween-esque, all horror, all kids Halloween fun. We're going to give away candy. We're going to give away a courtesy of We Can Be Heroes. We're going to give away a wonderful trade paperback of Swamp Thing. It's going to be great. We're going to give away a DVD or Blu-ray, I believe, and then we're going to give away one other thing. And then we're going to move into November, and we're going to have another giveaway. So tune in, guys, because we're going to be doing a lot of fun giveaways and a lot of fun things. I'm just going to read a few more before we move on to our number one. Andrew says, I was not worried. I felt like you couldn't anticipate what was going on, but I wasn't bored at all. Totally engaged the entire time. Okay. Well, that's good. Then it's kind of a mix. More on Chris's level, I would say. Hakeem says, I hope that Loki gets to team up with Doctor Strange. Let's see. Aggressively Relaxing says, I could watch the King actor read a phone book. Dude was all charisma. He actually stars in a show, Lovecraft Country, on HBO.
Yeah, sadly canceled.
Did it get canceled?
Yeah.
That's a bummer because it was really good.
Yeah.
People didn't stick with it because they got a little bored or confused or something, but it got good. They did like an Indiana Jones episode too.
Oh, it was great. It was a great show.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
Hakeem says all these shows would be better with a little bit of Hulk. David says, yeah, the gang guy was amazing. Kang guy, I think is what he said. He was in Lovecraft Country, yes. Owen Wilson fit so good, says Andrew. Evan says, in all honesty, I'm not pissed. It was not as bad as people say it was, although it was probably ranked appropriately. Iron Fist, that's what he means. And David is congratulating Ricky. So, yes, congratulations, Ricky. Now let's move on to number one so we can wrap this up for the evening for everybody.
Well, it's pretty obvious what number one is because we haven't said it until this point, but you probably could take a wild guess. It's the character in my background. It is good old Matt Murdock, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil, Charlie Cox.
Yeah. not including the costume, which I think is kind of shit. A lot of the rest of it was brilliant. It was very good. I didn't like the fact that we didn't get the costume really throughout the entire season 1. That really pissed me off, and pretty much everybody else.
Until the last episode, yeah.
Right, but the storytelling was compelling, and Charlie's great, and of course, the best Kingpin we have ever seen. I know that that we had a great Kingpin in the Ben Affleck film.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Yes, we really did.
The late Michael Clark Duncan.
Right, Michael Clark Duncan was great, but he didn't get as much time to shine because it's a movie, it's not a series. Vincent chews that scenery every time he's in it. It's like there's no one else around him. He's that enigmatic. He is.
And he's three-dimensional. He's a three-dimensional character.
Wonderful. Just a wonderful actor and a wonderful character that he fleshed out that just made you love the Kingpin and want to kind of root for him, to be honest.
Yeah, you understand his point of view. You see where he's coming from.
Yeah. Andrew agrees. He says Lovecraft was a shit. Aggressively Relaxing says Lovecraft Country got canceled and Marvel hired all the actors. Yeah. Sammy says Daredevil, her favorite. Love me some Matt Murdock. Jarrett says Kingpin is the best. Evan says I felt same at first, but I was okay with the black suit and build up. Jarrett says also Amazing Cox. C-O-X, by the way, he's saying. And Hakeem says Daredevil is certainly on the top of my list. And Jarrett says Beautiful Cox. C-O-X, by the way.
That's a good-looking dude.
Yeah. Evan says D'Onofrio is the best Marvel villain, hands down. Yes, Kingpin is probably the best villain that we have seen, if we're not counting Loki. I think Loki's also pretty great and right on par.
Or Thanos.
No.
You don't like Thanos?
I like Thanos enough, but he's a one and done. I just don't. I mean,
he was the most successful villain of all of them, but
who? That's Loki.
No, Thanos.
No, Loki's the most successful. Loki's been in more. He's got his own series. He's been in multiple films.
I think what he meant was when carrying out your plan.
Yeah, carrying out his plan.
Carrying out his plan.
Okay.
Thanos was most successful because.
Plus, he did break Loki's neck too. By the way.
I can agree there then because he did get rid of everybody, or half of everybody anyway.
And he broke Loki's neck too with the smile.
Frisky says Cox got me hornheady. You guys.
Oh man, the innuendo is funny.
Yeah, they did land a little too heavy into the hand on Netflix, Jarrett. And that's seen by the Daredevil series, but I mean by the Defenders miniseries that they did. That we did not put on this list because it is technically a miniseries. It's not really a series, and it had Iron Fist in it, and I feel like that automatically would rank it extremely low. Plus, it was trash. So,
I like the Stick character from Daredevil and a little bit later in Defenders. I like that character.
Andrew says Daredevil was so good. I wish they would focus more on his acrobatics. Fight sequences were dope, but they should show him swinging around in some awesome ways. Totally agree. We would get that stick thing with the then he punches and then wraps around stuff and swings and stuff. Can't wait until they put him in the MCU and we see some of that shit, because we will, and it'll be great. Daredevil's like a blind Spider-Man, really. I mean, he's just very acrobatic, very good at what he does. Growing up, I never really liked Daredevil as a character. In fact, I didn't like most Marvel characters at all. I found them to
DC guy.
Yeah, and I found them to be a little bit boring.
Wow.
But watching this series and stuff, I grew a respect for Daredevil and his character, and I really started to appreciate it. Particularly he's such a tragic son of a gun. Like, my God.
His love life.
How many things has to happen to this dude, like, before he just crumbles? And he never does. He always rises back up. So, kudos to him.
Yeah, and some phenomenal fight scenes, too.
Yeah, and Jarrett's right. He says Frank Miller made Daredevil. He pretty much did. He really brought him to his ultimate form, and that's what they used for the storytelling. No, Andrew, I have not watched the Ben Affleck Daredevil recently, but I always will remember the playground scene. with Elektra. Yeah.
Oh
no,
wait,
not
which
good.
Elektra do you prefer? The one from the Netflix series or Alias?
Ooh. Well, I prefer the more accurate one, which I would say is in the series.
Right.
I do like Jennifer Gardner. I think she's great. But yeah, I don't think there's much of a comparison, to be honest.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
So that's number one. So that pretty much does it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We just want to let you know again that we are sponsored by a sponsor, Splattered Frog. Go to splatteredfrog.com. They're a virtual microbrewery company. Go to their website, put in Shortbox as a code, save 20%. We also have another sponsor that is Half's Hot Sauce. Go to their website and put in the code Donald Hiccups for 10% off your hot sauce order. They do have a new one called More Cowbell. It is a mustard seed hot sauce, and it is hot, guys. I pulled a Kevin, and I only could do a little dab. And that's all I could stand. Or I could say I pulled a Darren. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But that's all I could take was just a little bit of dab, and that did me in. It's so hot. So those that love the heat, try it. Check it out. We are, again, the Real Short Box Live. We're every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time on YouTube under the Rumble Spoon Productions page. You can find our audio podcasts. They come out usually every Thursday, if not Friday. Those are available on what platforms, Kevin?
Anyone you could think of. Apple, Google, Spreaker, Blueberry. Are we on SoundCloud too, I believe?
Yes.
Yes, anything you can think of, we're pretty much there. If we're not there, you let us know, and we will put the Real Short Box there.
We'll do it. And don't forget to tune in every week in Shocktober, actually, where we're going to be doing prizes, giveaways. We're going to have some special surprise guests. If I recall, we are working on getting... if I am considered a superhero, we are getting my possibly my arch nemesis back. The ultimate villain to the Real Short Box is what I would call him. We're working on that. I'm not a fan of the idea, but we're
trying. Hey, we have to broker a deal. We need to bring peace.
We'll see how it goes. I'm open to it, but I don't like it. So we'll see. Those that don't know, there is an episode about it, and we can post that on our social media later if you want to check it out. But thank you all in the chat. Thanks for tuning in and visiting the Real Short Box. And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
at the modern, magnificent, but sometimes mysterious comic book shop.
Good night, everybody.